What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're looking at the saga of Eben Etzebeth and his racist as well as assault charges that were headed towards him last year. And I think it was August 25th. We're almost approaching a year and we find this kind of getting an idea where this is going, as it really finally been laid to rest. Now, for those that don't remember, obviously South African rugby was on quite a high last year. We won the rugby championship. Everyone was on a good roll. But then this assault charge came about in Langebaan last year in the Western Cape, where Eben was apparently involved in an altercation with a group of people as well as his group of people, and there were words being thrown, there were apparently assault allegations, and because Eben, the high figure there, everyone put the blame on him and accused him of that, which he strongly denied, and saying he stayed out of it, etc., etc. A lot of talk was that they were trying to antagonize Eben to get him into the trouble, etc., etc., and it caused a storm and went from positive South Africans going mad because we won the rugby championship for the first time in many years, since 2009, and we were building up to the Rugby World Cup, so all things were high and positive, which was good. It was finally happening again because we were just feeling good. And unfortunately, this whole incident caused a negative stir back in the media, where they just attacked Eben, called him obviously a racist, and people wanted him out. People wanted him not to represent the Springboks in the World Cup. People wanted him not to represent the Springboks at all. There was a whole talk of him, and people were saying he shouldn't even be in the eye of being selected. Now, SA Rugby did handle it quite well. He was innocent until proven guilty, which he's never been proven. There was voice notes going around. There was so many things that were trying to get him found guilty, and people were trying to find the certain instances to get this guy accused for racism and assault, and they just couldn't find anything on him. And Rassie had made a comment and said if he's found guilty, he will be sent back home, because obviously this saga went on even in the World Cup. It wasn't long before the squad was announced, Eben was selected, and people moaned, and the negative media continued and continued. He went on to the World Cup, and I think it was before we were going to play Namibia. There was talk of should he even be in the squad. For those who don't remember the Total Sports saga, where they took out every poster of Eben Etzebeth, and people boycotted Total Sports because of that reason. And to this day, people still haven't been in to a Total Sports store because they wanted to remove Eben. It was like people were jumping to conclusions and pronouncing him guilty when there's no official evidence that he was found guilty. Cutting the long story short, obviously Rassie said, he's here, we're playing, we're not going to let this affect him or the players. And Sia said he's in a good space, and Sia also said we're going ahead as usual. Now obviously, if it's like in a workplace, if you can sense the negative vibe or the abuse or the bullying or the racism, generally it will get dealt with. Not all places, and it obviously needs to improve in the world, but it generally will get dealt with, and you will see the uncomfortable work colleagues. And the rugby guys were on form. There was a good vibe within the Springbok squad. Obviously there's latest news where things have been said differently, but I'll briefly talk about that a little bit later. So that went on, and this vibe was still good. There was nothing really affecting him or the players. You would have thought this was just something that was happening. You wouldn't even think that these guys were affected from it. So the game went on, the World Cup went on, and obviously you know the rest. The success story of South Africa winning the World Cup. There were priceless moments of the interactions of Eben and his fellow teammates, especially those of colour. I'll never forget the moment of Eben and Trevor Nkani when he kissed him on the head, when he lifts up Herschel Yankees and Cheslin Colby. There's a great bond and interaction between that team, and it's all thanks to Rassie, who brought in a culture and created something special where guys were treated equally and they weren't seen for religion, race or anything. And that Springbok team went on to win the World Cup. So all those things were forgotten, and people kept asking, but obviously the World Cup drowned out this drama. Now Judge Johann van Westhuizen has found after conducting a thorough investigation that Springbok lock, Eben Etzebeth, is not guilty of either racism or assault. And obviously he was accused of both. I mean, we got the sports minister involved, wanting him gone. There was a lot of negativity and people were jumping to the conclusion. And it wasn't fair because there was no proof. And it says the following findings in the case which have been revealed were he could find no grounds whatsoever to proceed with the charges. SA Rugby was advised to have a meeting with Etzebeth to discuss the consequences of these charges and how they could reflect on him. SA Rugby was also advised to have meetings with all Springboks to discuss the issue on how it could affect the public perception of them in the future. Now, obviously, this was all big thing happening, and it was handled very quietly. I mean, we didn't know what was going on. We just thought, all right, this is it's almost swept under the carpet or something like that. But SA Rugby have pretty much said, have now declared the matter closed. It says here, following these discussions, SA Rugby has now declared the matter closed and does not see any reason to continue with the investigation. And however, there is still an ongoing equality report where the equality court case is still pending until this thing has been charged. So that's still going on. It's been going on for almost a year, as mentioned. And no word yet on that side of things. So there's still another case of equality court where these guys are going for him. But SA Rugby have said enough's enough, continue with the game, continue with the way things are going. Now, obviously, in recent media, we've seen Siya Kolisi come out on Black Lives Matter. His wording that he mentioned, obviously, the beast has come out of it. We've seen all sports stars around the world take a knee and all that stuff. Now, Black Lives Matter, I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't feel I have the right to talk about it, as I don't experience. I haven't been in an altercation like that. I have great friends of color. I have great friends of different religions, and I hold them close and dearly. I work with people of color. I work with people of disability, and let's not forget, we've got to include them into the differences of equality here. And when we look at what Sia said previously, now obviously growing up in the community, in the township, no one can experience something like that besides those guys involved, and we as people who have lived a better life than them, we have no right to judge or to criticize what he went through. Where we technically can make a comment is when he enters the workplace, when he enters the Springbok environment that was apparently very Afrikaans, and he didn't want to speak out, he didn't want to feel stupid, I think was one of the words he quoted in. My thing there is probably the part where I disagree, is if you join a new job, or if you start a new career, or if you join the army, or if you join any type of sport, obviously it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be odd and you're going to feel awkward or you're going to feel silly to make a comment because there's already a procedure in place when you start. When you start a new job, you're obviously nervous. You obviously still need to learn how to do things differently the way that company does it, and you adapt. And if things aren't right, you've got to speak up in order to change the vibe, to make it fit. Now, I can relate to this in certain instances. Now, obviously not from a township point of view, but I can relate to it in a way from sport. When I hit grade 8, I was in the team meeting with my school. And we were with the boys. We had our first training session. And my coach looked around and started selecting the team. He looked at me and said, Gareth, because you're short, because you're a dwarf, you will not play cricket for my school. So he's pretty much said, in front of the whole school, I can't play. So I was automatically the one who felt stupid. I felt like I couldn't do anything, and I felt because of my disability, my challenge, I couldn't get out there. I couldn't achieve my dream. And I was hurt. I felt pathetic because I couldn't do it. And I kept looking, why am I short? Why am I this? Just like what Sia probably went through and thinking now. But I didn't let that defeat me. I didn't let that be the reason for me not to continue playing my sport. I kept going to every practice for 2 years, every practice, trying to prove this coach wrong. That coach left and he went to another school, and Don't get me wrong, this coach is a great person, but he felt there was no point of me playing the sport because he thought I would get hurt. But obviously that wasn't the thing I wanted. I wanted to play. Coach left, we got a new coach, new system, new environment, new changes. This new coach put me in the team in the second week. Second week, I got my first shot. I never missed a single game since. I played first team cricket from grade 10 to matric. Where in matric I was named first team captain. And it just goes to show, if you keep fighting, if you keep believing in what you want, you can achieve your dreams and goals in life. And that's the success story for me Sia could have shared on the success of equality within sport, is he kept fighting, he kept believing in himself and showed the world what he could do. He was in a township where he felt worthless, where he felt the challenges and couldn't experience things, but he still got the opportunities through transformation, which is the right way, not quota, transformation, bringing the sport to the community, giving them a scholarship. He went to Grey. From Grey, he went to EP. From EP, he went to Stormers, Province, Springboks, the captain. And because he didn't give up, and for me, his media manager should have showed him the way and what to communicate instead of cause this fuss. The thing with the whole Sia situation is why I say his team could have done something different, is he could have made his comments a little bit more from an equal point of view, touching base on how he can inspire and motivate, encourage people, and also calling out the faults within South Africa in our government, the mistakes they've made, the situations of how we haven't dealt with corruption and all the problems within South Africa. Also, not only BLM movement, which is obviously important, but what about the farm murders that are currently happening that no one seems to be really advertising? And when I say farm murders, please understand, I'm not talking about white only. I'm talking about farmers of color too. There are different races and religions that are involved in farming, your workers, your farm owners. And they are getting killed and murdered too. If he had just rethought about this, I mean, if we look back at 2019 World Cup final, when Sia spoke to the world, he inspired. His speech was emotional and it was meaningful. And I just feel if he had thought a little bit more of what he could say about this whole situation in an encouragement and a motivation and calling out the faults within, it could have been received better, and then we wouldn't see people being so negative, because unfortunately we're all focusing on the negative, and it's sad. And sport has the power to change the world and has the power to inspire, as Madiba said. And if he had approached it a little bit differently, we might not be in the negative situation that we're currently in. But that's just my 2 cents worth on it. And when I say fuss, I'm talking about the negative environment, because we've been under the impression that Springbok rugby has been in a great place, and it has, because of Rassie, and it just shows what a new coach can do. And that's where I'm in defense with Sia, with an environment. However, you need to also stand up. You've got the leadership material. If you don't stand up, or if you sit back and allow the dominance of a system that maybe doesn't work because you're different, you've got to speak up. You've got to stand up. And look what you're doing now. He's standing up. He's sharing his message. And I just felt he should have tweaked it in different ways in order to create a success story that could involve and create positivity around the world, that can create inspiration for everyone. Because remember, a lot of people, whether it's a disability, whether it's a race, or whether it's a religion, a lot of guys missed out on opportunities of playing for Springboks, for the Proteas, for Bafana. I mean, we look at this, there's issues, and this is why politics in sport does not work. You've got to have a system in place. You've got to have the right people in place. And Rassie is that example. For example, Rassie comes in, changes the environment, the Springboks lead and win the World Cup. I had a coach that didn't see me as a player. As soon as he left, the new coach came in, and boom, Gareth became a cricket player. Gareth became first team captain. Even with the dwarfism disability, I did it. And that's the success story that needs to go out to the world, to inspire people, to motivate people, and not create this vibe with the dream we've been living on the Springboks is now a little bit negative and tainted. And for those who are burning Springbok jerseys or cutting them up, I don't agree with that either. I'm wearing mine. I've got 3 or 4. I will never do that because I believe in the sport and I believe in the way the sport has helped this country in the positive sides. I mean, sport has the power to change the world. It's more powerful in governments than breaking down racial barriers, and that is the truth. We've seen it. And we need to stick by it. If we keep focusing on the negativity in the world and the hatred and everything, we're never going to go forward. And that's why it's important for everyone to work together in creating an equal life for all. And I'm not singling out here. I know it's tough. I know the struggles that people have gone through who are poor, who have a community, and I feel for it, and I raise awareness for it, and I talk about transformation, bringing sport to the community, because the sport has the power to keep people out of crime. It allows them to showcase their dreams, and there needs to be systems in place in order to give players the opportunity to play the sport equally for the reasons and on merit, and not kick out of those opportunities other people who's worked hard, and also not to throw in a person who's just not ready to quite play the sport yet because of a government official kicking it in. We're going through a negative time of COVID-19 and we need to focus on how we can make this world positive. We look at the politics in the world of how the negative environment is. They're throwing off the blames on certain people. Why aren't we working together to motivate and inspire? People are dying. People are losing their lives. People are sick. And we need to talk of the success stories. We need to help people. And that's what SIA has been doing, is helping people poor, helping people with COVID, helping people with this foundation. Those are the success stories that he could have brought into the speech to make it a bit more powerful and share that message that he shared at the 2019 Rugby World Cup final, where he said, we did it for the people, we did it for the unity of South Africa, and how we can achieve the greatness in the end result. And Rassie and Sia and those boys deserve the credit for that. And they did inspire a nation. They did motivate a nation. And to those who are still negative, and we've got to think positive. We've got to change our mindset and stop thinking of, oh, he's there because of X, or oh, it's a political thing, or oh, it's a white-dominated sport, or oh, it's Afrikaans, or this. Come on, guys. We've all been in tough situations. I've been in an Afrikaans class where I didn't know what the hell I was talking, but I did it because it's going to benefit the lifestyle. I wish I learned causes so I could speak and interact more with people of color. It's the way it should be. We need to be equal on this, not negative. If more negativity is going to create the hate, it's going to create the violence. If we work together, love one another, do what we can to the best of our ability, we can achieve the success in life. And it starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with people. That's why I say the people have the voice to be more powerful than governments, because we have the say of going forward, and peaceful protests are the way forward, not violence, not throwing things, burning things, vandalizing things, working together, holding hands, hugging one another, no matter what the race is. There's a beautiful photo of a black child and a white child hugging, and they're saying we were friends before you changed our mind perspective of the negativity in the world. The past is the past, and it was tough and it was hard, but we can't go and change it. It's what it is, but we can make the new change, and we can make the change positive going forward. We can do something great, and it starts with us to work together, to leave the negativity. I mean, I've seen people focus on the negativity too much and they're forgetting of the good things. How are you going to move forward when you're focusing on the negative? You're never going to move forward. And that's my message for you guys today. Think of life in a different perspective. Stop worrying about the negativity. Focus on how can we reduce negativity? How can we work? Don't judge on what we were taught in the negativity of what we were taught of racism, of assault, of bullying. We need to wash that away and cleanse ourselves and focus on what's good in life, what's important in life. By doing that, we will be creating a better world for you, me, for your children, for your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, etc. The past is in the past. We cannot change it. But we can change the future and make the future great. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.